Ever stared at a rental agreement and felt like, you needed a secret decoder ring?
Or maybe a law degree.
Exactly. Just to figure out what you're signing. Or, maybe you've had a rental issue pop up later and thought, wait, what are my actual rights here?
Oh yeah, it's so common to feel a bit lost in the weeds with residential leasing. It can get complicated fast.
Right. That's precisely why we're doing this deep dive today. We're looking into Raymond Yang's tactical notes on residential leasing and asset management.
And we should probably clarify right off the bat, when we say Raymond Yang, we're talking about Lauren Church. Same person.
Good point.
Yeah.
So think of this as like your roadmap for navigating the often tricky world of renting and managing properties,
Mhm.
specifically here in Taiwan.
Yeah. Our goal really is to pull out the key tactical knowledge from his work, the stuff that can actually help you feel more confident.
Because let's face it, these situations can be stressful.
Definitely. And what's great about Raymond Yang's approach, I think, is how he bridges that gap. He takes complex legal language.
Stuff that makes your eyes glaze over.
Exactly. And he connects it directly to, the real world practical side of leasing.
Okay, so let's talk about why he's such a good source for this. This isn't just theory for him, right?
Not at all. He's been deep in the residential leasing service industry since, let me check, December 2008.
Wow, okay, so that's what, 16 years? Solid hands-on experience.
16 years, yeah.
Yeah,
Plus, he's got the academic background, too, an LLM that's a Master of Laws from California Western School of Law.
okay.
And his bachelor's in law is from Tunghai University right here in Taiwan.
So a mix of practical street smarts and book smarts, basically.
That's a good way to put it. That combination is really valuable. And he also lectures, right, at National Open University and part-time at Tunghai Uni's law department.
Which tells you he knows how to explain things clearly. He's used to teaching this stuff.
Precisely. He's good at breaking down complicated ideas.
Okay, so inspired by his work, our mission here is to turn those, let's say, daunting legal rules into actionable tactical notes that you can actually use.
Little nuggets of practical wisdom.
Exactly. He talks about several key tactical areas. Where should we start? Maybe the contracts themselves.
I think that makes the most sense. Standardized lease agreements, they're foundational, really.
Right, because that's usually the first thing you encounter. You get this document, it looks official, maybe it's long.
And the pressure's on to just sign it.
Yeah. But what are you actually agreeing to? What should you be looking for?
Well, this is where Yang's insights are great. He really pushes you not to just accept these forms blindly. He says, look closely
For what specifically?
for clauses that might violate basic fairness or good faith, things that just feel off,
Yeah.
or hidden terms that aren't in your favor.
Like what? Can you give an example?
Sure, maybe a clause that lets the landlord raise the rent whenever they want mid-lease without a really clear justification. That's something you'd want to question.
Okay, so it's about more than just the rent price and the dates. You need to dig into the details.
Absolutely. And knowing what to look for empowers you, right? You start to see which parts might actually be negotiable.
Things you could potentially ask to change to protect yourself better.
Exactly. And ultimately, this isn't about making things difficult. It's about aiming for a more transparent, more secure transaction for everyone involved, landlords and tenants.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, another area he covers is consumer protection and how it ties into residential leasing. This sounds really important, especially for renters.
Oh, it is critically important.
Yeah.
Many people don't realize that tenants have rights under general consumer protection laws, plus specific rules just for housing rentals.
Like what kind of rules?
Well, administrative agencies actually publish lists of mandatory items to be recorded. These are things that must be in a standard lease.
Things that protect the tenant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like clearly stating who's responsible for repairs, for example. And then there's the flip side, prohibited items to be recorded.
Stuff that's not allowed in a lease.
Correct. Clauses that are considered unfair or illegal. So just knowing about these lists gives you a huge advantage.
You can quickly scan a lease and see if it's missing something vital or if it includes something it shouldn't. A red flag detector almost.
That's a perfect way to think about it.
Yeah.
And understanding this helps everyone stay compliant, Landlords avoid unintentional violations. Tenants know their rights are covered.
Okay, moving on. The outline mentions judicial practices versus case overviews. This sounds like we're shifting from the written law to how it plays out in real-life disputes.
Exactly. There's the law in the books, and then there's how courts actually interpret and apply that law when things go wrong.
Which can sometimes be different, I imagine.
It can. So Raymond Yang emphasizes looking at significant recent court rulings related to rentals.
So you're not just reading the statute, you're seeing how judges decided cases that might be, well, kind of similar to your own situation.
Precisely. And the practical value there is immense. It helps you assess risk much more effectively. Well, say you're in a dispute over getting your security deposit back. If you look up similar cases and find that courts consistently rule in favor of tenants who kept detailed photo evidence from move-in.
Then you know having that evidence is crucial for your own case.
Exactly. It gives you a tactical advantage, a better prediction of potential outcomes. It's like seeing a map of how the legal system might handle your issue.
That's incredibly useful for making decisions. Okay, let's broaden the scope a bit. Defects in public facilities and national compensation. This sounds like it goes beyond just your apartment unit.
It does. We're talking about issues in common areas of a building, maybe leaks in the hallway, falling tiles from the exterior.
Stuff that affects the whole community?
Right. Or even problems with facilities managed by the government, like a poorly maintained public pathway near your building.
So if something like that happens, say a leak from a common pipe damages your stuff, or you trip on that broken public sidewalk, who's responsible?
That's the key question, isn't it? Liability. Yang's work delves into figuring that out. Is it the building management committee, your landlord, maybe even a government agency?
And how do you get compensation if you suffer damages or injury?
His notes aim to clarify that process, who you need to claim from, and what steps you generally need to take. It can be complex, so understanding the potential avenues is important.
Good to know, because those situations feel really messy and it's hard to know where to even start. Okay, last tactical area on our list. Move-in and infringement practices. Sounds like the real nitty-gritty.
It really is. This covers the whole life cycle of the rental, from signing the lease and getting the keys,
The move-in.
right through to moving out and returning the property. There are key things to watch at every stage.
Like what? What are the crucial points during move-in and move-out?
Well, the details matter hugely here. Things like meticulously documenting the property's condition when you first get the keys, taking photos, videos.
Getting a baseline.
Exactly. And making a detailed inventory of any furniture or appliances included. Then, understanding how liability for damages during your tenancy is decided.
Seems like small stuff, but I guess it prevents big arguments later.
Precisely. Especially when it comes to that security deposit. Having clear proof of the initial condition is invaluable.
So being diligent at the start and end helps you avoid those liability pitfalls, as the outline calls them.
Definitely. It's about preventing disputes before they even start.
Okay, so we've covered these key areas from Raymond Yang's work. Let's bring it back to you, the listener. Who is all this information really for?
Well, it's quite broad, actually. It's not just for one group.
Right. If you're a landlord, this helps you manage your risks, protect your investment.
If you're a renter, it's about understanding your rights, avoiding bad situations, knowing what to look for.
And what about professionals?
Absolutely. Professional leasing managers need this to stay current on regulations and best practices. Even lawyers working in-house or at firms might need this specific knowledge.
And I guess, really, it's for anyone who just wants to feel safer and more empowered in any rental transaction.
Yeah, anyone who wants to use a bit of legal thinking to improve their practical life skills in this area.
So it really does touch a lot of people involved in the residential rental market here in Taiwan.
Definitely. And our goal, mirroring Raymond Yang's approach, is always clarity and practicality, taking these complex legal ideas and making them useful for you.
So if this deep dive has been helpful, please do subscribe and click that notification bell. We'll have more tactical notes coming up.
And please, use the comments. Let us know what specific rental challenges you're facing or what legal topics you want us to tackle next.
Your feedback really helps us shape these discussions.
We genuinely want to hear from you.
Because ultimately, the law should be a tool for protection, not a source of confusion. We really hope these insights help you navigate renting with more confidence.
Absolutely. And if you do want to dig deeper into Raymond Yang's own work, he has several publications out there. Yeah, quite a few useful ones. There's confidentiality agreements and non-competition clauses, sales and purchase contracts. Both are bilingual clause guides.
Useful? What else?
Practical contract English, residential lease contracts, theory and practice tactical guide. That sounds very relevant. And 100 questions on rental disputes.
Okay, quite a list. And he's written articles too, right? More specific stuff.
Yes, loads of journal articles covering things like trademark issues, problems with OEM products, legal duties around interior renovations, specifically electricity and access control and rentals.
Wow, very specific.
Also, tax incentives for landlords, tax disputes in social housing management, issues around security deposits like imputed interest and the statutory interest rate, the housing hoarding tax exclusion for chartering services,
Well, really detailed analyses.
legal aid for rental disputes, how notice and service work legally, especially if a landlord refuses repairs, and importantly, the whole process for handling handover and abandoned items under Article 12 of the Leasing Act.
Okay, so a real wealth of expert information is available there if you want to go further.
Definitely plenty to explore.
And looking ahead for us, our very next deep dive will start putting this into practice. We'll kick off with a detailed look at standardized rental contracts, our first tactical note in action.
Sounds like a great place to start. Looking forward to it.
Me too. Thanks everyone for tuning in.